Now, Channon's body showed a very similar fate. Again, this is pretty graphic. You may not want to stick around for this. But I just think it's important that you hear what happened. Medical examiner stated that she had been tortured for hours. This poor girl. I mean, I just can't... it's horrible. And these are the last moments of her life.
Torture and pain.
For hours.
And confusion.
And like, why? Why me? What did I do? I mean, I think of like Nancy Kerrigan. Why? I mean, because...
No, but seriously.
Why is this happening to me?
Yes.
You know?
I mean, that was probably the biggest question in her head the whole time. Why?
Is I don't deserve this.
Why me?
Well, she had traumatic brain injuries and had been repeatedly sexually assaulted. She had injuries to her vagina, anus, and mouth. And one thing, that I was kind of reading, I was reading through some of the case files, like some of the court records. Her mouth had like ruptured membranes and like inside her mouth where someone had been so brutal with her.
What the hell? I didn't even know you had a membrane up in your mouth.
Yeah, like she was basically just torn apart. This
Abused
poor girl.
In every way possible.
Yes.
And then some.
Repeatedly.
Jesus.
The assailants poured bleach down her mouth and into her throat. They had tried to scrub her body with bleach as well. She had large traces of bleach in her vagina. Like they just poured bleach in this girl's vagina.
Can you imagine? The pain?
Assuming they were doing... I mean, yeah, because she's already got these horrific injuries.
Well, besides... Oh, my
Gashes,
God.
bleeding.
Oh, my fucking God. I didn't even think about the open wounds on top of chemical bleach on your genitals.
And on top of that, just in general, how bad that would fucking hurt.
Yes. Oh, yeah. My God.
I mean, this poor girl. This is so bad.
This is horrible.
And I'm assuming they did this with the bleach. They were trying to get rid of the sperm.
Yeah.
Evidence.
Yeah.
And these guys are not fucking intelligent. Well, they had tied her body up with some curtains and strips of sheets. Her neck was broken. They covered her head with a trash bag. Then they stashed her body into 5 trash bags. And they had tied her up before they put her in this trash bag in this fetal position where her thighs were pulled closely to her chest. And then they had wrapped these sheets and things and tied her up in this position. So
what the hell?
That's uncomfortable.
That's weird.
That's
too.
Fucking horrible, right?
Yeah.
Then they stuff her into this trash can. They piled some sheets and linens on top of that. And then they put some Wendy's trash, like fast food wrappers. I guess trying to be like, hey, well, this looks like trash.
Oh, if you search that, yeah, that's just a Bacon Jr.
Yeah, we just have some chicken nuggets up in here. Well, evidence showed that Channon had suffocated very slowly until she died. During a trial, this woman named Daphne Sutton, she had been Lamarcus's girlfriend and had been living in this house with him, testified that the material that Channon was tied up with was from a floral comforter bedding sheet set that they had used on their bed in the home.
Okay, so I'm going to make these murder restraints out of my sheet from my house, okay? You with me?
Mm-hmm.
I'm not going to get the white one or the black one or the gray one or any of that. I'm going to get that fucking particular weird floral print one that we got from your grandma's house that look really no one would ever forget seeing these sheets. That's what I'm going to tear it out of. Geniuses. Okay.
On January 11th, authorities at this point, they have suspects. They know who they're looking for. They tracked down 2 suspects, Latalvis Cobbins and George Thomas, in Lebanon, Kentucky. Lamarcus Davidson was going to eventually be found in Knoxville. I should mention that Davidson and Latalvis Cobbins are like half-brothers. 2 more suspects, Eric Boyd and Cobbins' girlfriend, Vanessa Coleman, also are arrested. And I believe Vanessa was arrested in Kentucky as well, and Eric Boyd was still in Knoxville with Lamarcus Davidson.
Okay.
Now, I did watch some testimony, so if you want to go to YouTube, they have lots of live testimony from the trial.
Some of that's pretty good.
On YouTube.
When you watch live
testimony. And
testimony.
Latalvis Cobbins is saying that he and his friend George and his girlfriend had gone to Knoxville to ring in the new year. I guess his half-brother had gotten out of prison, jail, whatever.
Okay.
And they hadn't seen each other for a while.
It's a welcome home party.
They'd basically gone to Knoxville to spend New Year's Eve party, hang out. So they'd been there like a week. And he claims that, they go out because Lamarcus is saying, like, he knows some girl that lives in this apartment and wants to go find her for some reason. And they drive over there. And then he says they smoked a wet blunt.
Oh, okay. So it had formaldehyde on it.
I guess.
Yeah.
Is that what that means?
It's getting wet.
Okay.
Did cigarettes and marijuana blunts into formaldehyde.
And
I only know that from another podcast.
And then this is what,
Tupac.
this all transpired, and that this Latalvis was just like, what the fuck's happening? Like, I thought we was just hanging out.
So now they're in, that's more of a PCP angel dust kind of territory high, right?
I suppose.
Where you
I don't know. I'm like the most ignorant person when it comes to drugs.
Well, this is from what I'm to understand.
I'm so naive.
Okay. No, people out there, I've never done this. This from what I'm to understand. It's more of this like hardcore high. I mean, it's just a harsh chemical, not meant for human, and they figured out that if you do it like this, you get, and it's pretty rough. It's like you could almost have a break from reality.
I'm just mentioning this because according to like Latalvis's testimony, this was not like a planned crime. It was not like they were all hanging out like, hey, let's go rob and carjack someone. I mean, he's saying like, we were hanging out. My brother wanted to go to this girl's apartment. Like, he knew this girl that lived in this apartment building.
So that's why they're there.
They roll
this
up,
regular
they
reason.
see this couple, and that's when his brother's like, we're going to fucking roll this couple.
No.
Or whatever.
Is it the brother that just got out of jail?
Yes, Lamarcus.
They should have kept him in jail. Lamarcus, no.
So that is according to Latalvis's testimony.
Okay.
So I'm just bringing that up to say, like, at least one member of this fuck-up posse is saying that, like, hey, we didn't plan that. It wasn't like we had an intention or that we knew this couple or that I was just kind of along for the ride and this all started to fucking happen. Yeah, but I would stop
about the time you started cramming foreign objects up dude's ass and, like, murdering people. But anyway.
So here's where the Latalvis's testimony could be bullshit, because DNA evidence showed that Lamarcus Davidson and Latalvis Cobbins were the ones who had raped and sodomized Channon.
Fuck Latalvis.
Yeah.
Fuck him.
And again, they found sperm in her mouth, vagina, and anus, as well as on her clothing items, and it was belonging to these two men.
So that torture of pouring all that bleach all over that poor girl like that.
For nothing.
They still recovered the evidence.
Now, there was a witness named Xavier Jenkins who was employed with Waste Connections, which is a local business near that Chipman house. And from what I understand, they're like a trash disposal, trash removal kind of business. Well, he had come into work, like he worked a late shift, like a graveyard shift. And he'd come into work and he noticed, because it's right there next to this rental house, that there were these 4 black males entering in and out of the house, like multiple times. Around 1:30, he had reported in for work, probably midnight or whatever. So he's like noticing they're kind of in and out of the house. They're in the driveway. They got flashlights. They're kind of back and forth. He saw this white SUV parked in the driveway, and it was not a vehicle he recognized ever having been parked there. He also saw a white car parked behind it. Well, this car belongs to Nicole Mathis. She's the cousin of Eric Boyd. Nicole Mathis would later testify that she had loaned her cousin Eric the white Pontiac Sunfire on the night of the carjacking. When Mathis tried to reclaim her vehicle from Boyd, she went over to his mother's apartment where he was staying, and he tells her that the car's broken down.
He sounds like a real fucking winner, too.
I'll borrow my cousin's car.
Hey, girl, I borrowed your car, but so at my mama's house where I'm staying. Well, fuck, get a job.
So she goes down to the parking lot, she tries to crank her car, and she says that fluids just start pouring out of it.
Nice.
So not only does this lazy-ass guy who ain't got a car borrow her car, but he tears it the fuck up.
He done fucked up her $1,000 car. What a piece of shit.
Well, while she's inside the car, she finds a plastic bag which has small bullets in it, and it's kind of stuffed up under her driver's seat. So at the same time that she finds this plastic bag, and of course is like, what the hell?
Yeah, that's kind of weird.
She said that her cousin Eric, comes out of his mama's apartment, and he's walking down the sidewalk talking on a cell phone, and that she hears him say, I might be in some trouble.
Okay, now I feel great about this situation.
So she's like, oh shit, and she doesn't want to be any part of this, and so she's like, I got to get rid of this plastic bag. Because I need this in my car.
I would have took a different path. That was evidence. I'd recovered that.
Daphne Sutton, remember that's Lamarcus's girlfriend, says that on the evening of January 7th, he had come over to her house around like 11 p.m. And now you got to remember, this couple gets abducted sometime between like 9 and 10.
Okay.
Sometime around 10, they're probably, taken over to this rental house.
Right.
And so at 11, he shows up driving this white Toyota 4Runner. Now, Daphne and Lamarcus, I guess, kind of have this on and off again thing. And she had been living there, but they were kind of, I guess, in a fight. So she was staying at her friend's apartment. Speak briefly, and he gives her some clothes. And he says he got these earlier and got these for her. And then he leaves. Well, so she, gets in the apartment. She starts looking through these clothes, and she's like, these are secondhand. You didn't buy these for me.
He gave her the Goodwill bag box.
He did.
Oh, my God. What a douche.
So she calls him up and she's like, these are used clothes.
Yeah.
These belong to some other girl,
Who are you supposed to be?
I can just hear the conversation unfolding.
Yeah.
That she's not happy about
That's
this.
not going to work.
Well, the next night, which would be January the 8th, so this will be like the night after the murders, he spends the night with Daphne, at this friend's apartment. At some point, the phone rings, and it's Daphne's mother. And she's like, have you seen the reports on the news? And of course, Daphne's like, what are you talking about? And her mom is like, well, they found a body at the Chipman Street house where Lamarcus lives.
Uh-oh.
At this point, Daphne's like...
So she done found
hit the road,
bullets,
Jack.
the cars
the cousin finds the bullets.
Oh, the cousin did. Oh, okay.
This is his girlfriend. The
Yeah.
cousin found the bullets.
Oh, so it's time to get out,
Eric's
Daphne.
cousin.
Yeah.
So Daphne's like, you gotta leave. I don't want you here. I don't want any part of this.
Right.
She kicks him out. Hit the road. So during this time, Eric and Lamarcus are calling friends. They're trying to get help, trying to get out of town, or at least get Lamarcus out of town. Because at this point, he doesn't have anywhere to stay. He can't go home. It's a crime scene.
I don't feel bad for them. They kind of did this to them fucking selves.
One guy, Kevin Armstrong, says that they called him up. They asked him for a ride. They said they needed to get Lamarcus out of town. But he'd already seen these news reports. So he knew that these guys were in some shit. So he was like, yep, not going to help you.
Okay. That's how the media can help a case right there.
The pair, they're kind of freaking out. I guess they're walking around town. They go to a woman's apartment, like some woman that they know, that Eric Boyd knows. They go in. They're like, trying to
get somewhere to
figure
relax
out
and
where
cool off.
they can be. Well, this lady is like, I know what y'all did, and I don't want any part of this. So she's kicking them out. They're walking out in
It's the brutal nature of what they did.
They're trying to hide out in some like wooded area.
Yeah.
Eric is still trying to call friends.
Paranoid.
Hey, we got to get Lamarcus out of town. By January 11th, now that's the time that these other folks in Kentucky are being arrested. These two can't get any help. I guess they are, they're panicking. They break into a house on Reynolds Street, and it's a vacant property. Lamarcus is going to stay in this house. Now, Boyd is going to go back to his mama's apartment where he stays.
Oh, these guys. They're such men.
So Boyd's plan is like, I'm going to bring you some food. We're going to try to keep you hidden here. Hold tight. We'll figure this out. We'll get you out of town. I'm going to help you, buddy.
I'm calling the cops as soon as I get out of your sight.
Well, eventually police catch up to Boyd. I mean, he's staying at his mama's apartment.
He went back to his mama's apartment.
I guess these guys.
These shit sticks, dude. These guys are shit sticks. I'm sorry.
I have a feeling that, like, our young teenage girls could, like, plan a better crime than this.
Oh, I know they could.
They would be fucking smarter than this.
They would, and they would be telling these guys, like, what the fuck are you doing?
So they catch up to Boyd. They eventually apprehend Lamarcus. Inside the vacant house, where they find him hiding, they get a cell phone, they find a revolver, a McDonald's food bag, and they find Christopher Newsom's tennis shoes. Which later, I believe Daphne, the girlfriend, would testify and say that she saw him wearing these shoes and commented because they seemed like they were too small for him.
Ah.
So he's wearing this boy's shoes that don't even fit him.
Oh my God. What the fuck? They're so stupid.
The trial and the aftermath of it get a little